this week. Very good. Okay. So we are going to talk about grit and endurance. Um, I think a lot of people who take our classes, I think they give up too easily, right? Or they hit the first bump in the road or the first no or their first challenge or money hurdle or advertising hurdle or Facebook bans you or puts you in Facebook jail for 2 weeks, right? And they walk away or they give up or they say it's too hard, right? I've seen my kid do this, like on school projects or stuff. Like, where's your grit? Your life is too easy. You need grit, right? Grit is what pushes us through those hard times. I go to CrossFit 3 or 4 days a week and I hate it with a passion. Like, I hate it. I hate every minute I'm there. I hate every minute on the way home. But why do I go? Because it makes me gritty. It makes me have endurance and not just mental strength, but physical strength, right? I'll live longer. My heart will be healthier. And I think we've as a nation, I think we're kind of soft sometimes. I think if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, I think we're a little bit tougher than others, but that's my personal opinion because we were feral, right? We were feral kids. Remember you guys, I don't know who's old enough, but there was the commercial that says, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
It's because our parents were like, go outside and play and come back when the lights come on. And we were gritty. We got in fights and arguments and we climbed trees and we made money selling lemonade or hustling, or I did newspapers when I was like 14. It was the worst job I've ever had. Had my blue wagon walking up 4 miles, having old people yell at me. Right? But if you lack grit and sustainability and endurance, you're not going to make it through the tough seasons. And I've been doing live fire instruction. I think this is my eighth year. I think this is my eighth full year in business. And the first 3 years were hard. And I didn't have another job because I didn't want to do anything else. I know if I go work for somebody else and clock in, I'm never going to do this. So I put myself in a position, not that you should do this, I was much younger. If you don't make money, you don't eat. You don't pay your rent. You're done. So when you put yourself in a hard position, it makes you succeed, right? I think even for my own kid, I think her life is too easy. Her parents get along. We have Christian faith. Like, we jump in the car and go to Hobby Lobby today and buy art supplies, and we're not thinking about, like, do I buy an art supply or you know milk or eggs, right? Her life is easy, and I think it's important that she has grit. So I've stopped giving her money. You want money, you're an instructor, you have to come to work. I pay you $10 an hour. I never made $10 an hour as a 14-year-old, right? We got like $2 an hour. Go mow the lawn, I'll give you $5, right? So she goes, no, can I go to the movies? I'm like, I don't care. Sure. Can I have some money? No. Why? Because I told you if you want to do things, you need to go get a job or come to work with me. You're 14. You can figure it out. So it only took like one time. And today we were out. She's like, can I have a Chipotle? And I made dinner at home. And I don't make dinner and then go buy dinner. Like, once in a while we eat out, but I don't do double. She's like, I'll pay for it. I was like, you're gonna eat your income when dinner's literally 15 minutes away. I'm starving now. Okay. Spent 14.95 on Chipotle bowl. All right, how much money you have left? How much money did you spend today? I spent 80 bucks. Okay, what do you have left? Like five in my checking account. Like, so learning, being gritty and learning that instead of learning it when you're 40, right? Learning it young, teaching, being gritty and having endurance young. Like she comes weightlifting with me, right? She doesn't like it either, but she's a runner. So I think that's important, especially when we go through tough seasons in our marriage, financially, any health wise, anything you can think of. So I do have a video here. Um, let's see if I remember how to do this. It's pretty quick, and it's older. All right, I'm gonna hit play. If you do me a favor and hit thumbs up, that way I know you guys can hear it, okay?
Having the strength of mind on those mornings, right? It's always the mornings. You're like, F this. And I think any entrepreneur who told you he didn't think about quitting more often than he or she wants to admit. Like, you think about quitting, you think about it. You just don't do it, you know? And 3 years into this, I really feel like I'm really just starting still. So endurance starts with making a long-term commitment from the get-go. You know, for me, I was like, I'm going hard at this for my life, because that's easier for me to conceive that I either have to get it or not. If it takes me 20 years, it takes me 20 years. If it takes me 30 years, it takes me 30 years. If it takes me 3, good, I hope, but you know, it usually doesn't, unless you're a savant, right? There are savants out there, unicorn startups, they're millions of dollars funding, they're blowing up in 5 years. 99% of business owners and startup founders, like, you eat glass for years before you see any significant payout and start to blow up. So committing for 10 years to start, knowing I have to put my head down and work, be committed for 10 years before I can, you know, expect to have any level of lasting, enduring success. That's hard, man. Anybody can do something for a year. A year's not a long time in business. 3 years isn't a long time in business. It's enough that you should be growing and changing and evolving, but like, the long-term mindset and enduring through the days you want to quit. You're gonna want to quit. If you don't, you're a real savage, but really,
All right, how many of you have wanted to, how many of you wanted to quit? I wanted to quit this morning. I was like, enough. Like, a gentleman called me. Um, he's in my class on Thursday, right? We have like 9 people in our class on Thursday. And he's like, I think he's like 150 years old, right? And he tells me really a long story, right? And I'm like, trying to be nice. I'm like, okay, get to the point. And then he's like, I'm not really mechanical. I read the manual, all this stuff. I started to disassemble my firearm, and now I can't get it back together. And I think I broke it. He's like, you didn't break it. Yeah, I said, I promise you, you didn't break it. He's like, but I think it's backwards. I said, don't worry about it. Just put it away and we'll take care of it on Thursday. And then he goes and tells me another long story about his shooting career. Listen, I was on the phone for like 40 minutes for one question. Can you put my gun back together for me? Yes. Put it in the box, bring it to class. We'll handle it for you. Promise it's not broken. But like stuff like that, Like I drive my husband crazy. I don't rest well. I'm not I'm not a good like sit and I don't have any hobbies. I have zero hobbies. I guess this. You guys are my hobby, right? I don't know. Like I don't do anything for fun except eat and drink. That's why I'm 30 pounds overweight, right? Is that a problem? Probably. But I am so determined to leave a legacy for my kids, my kid, one kid, and her kids, whenever that happens, that I like working. I like I like working. I like making money. Like my whole goal is I don't if some of you might not know this, I bought a software company called Instructors Dash for firearm instructors, um, managing their clients and classes and credit card processing and stuff. So I spend more time on that than I do on live fire instruction because live fire instruction's up and running, right? I just keep maintaining it. And that's the most difficult job I've ever done. It's way harder than starting Instructor's Dash. And I wanted to give up this morning. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's very expensive. I'm paying for everything, paying for my staff, and what just seems like they're going like 1 mile an hour. I'm very much like, let's go, go, go. So just to say all that is like we we can't give up. You can't. You'll regret it. Like my kid today in the car, she's like, I'm in ninth grade and I've only done like two sports. It's like, I can't make you do sports. Like, I was like, you did taekwondo, you were one belt from black and you quit, and you did volleyball and now you run track, right? She's like, well, why did you let me quit taekwondo? I was like, I ain't dragging you to something that's expensive when you don't want to be there. She's like, but you let me quit and now I'm not successful. I'm not a black belt, right? And I thought about that. I was like, you have to take ownership for your quitting and then you get back on the ball. Like this whole like keto diet, carnivore, low carb kind of stuff, right? Like I'm like bipolar. Like I'm off, I'm on, off, on, off, on, like back and forth, back and forth. And what does that do? I just gain weight, right? Instead of being gritty and committing to the process of you've been at CrossFit for a year and you've gained 15 pounds and it's not muscle. I tested it. You hold that machine. That's a me problem. That's where I don't have accountability in my life because I won't let anybody. Please don't tell me. I already know, right? Because I think I know everything. But the point of today is being gritty and having endurance and pushing through the crappy stuff and figuring out ways to win. You have to figure out how to win. And you're going to lose more than you win. And I always say if you fail, fail forward. Don't fail backwards. Fail forward. And for the love of God, learn from your mistakes. I know if I have even like stevia in my coffee in the morning, right? Stevia is a 0 calorie. It does not increase your blood sugar. In my brain, it starts the sugar crave for the entire day because I tasted it. The days I don't do stevia, I'm fine the whole day. But maybe today I can do it. Maybe I'm over, you give yourself these reasons to fail. Oh, it's my husband's fault. It's my wife's fault. It's my job. You have to figure out how to win. And I'm going to figure out how to win with Instructor Stash. We're running really well. It's just so slow. I just want to break even. I tell my team that all the time. Can we just break even? Can we just be at zero? So we have goals, and goals help grittiness. and having support from a spouse, a mentor, a friend, a community like this to answer questions. That's the big thing. When I started Instructor Dash, I had nobody to ask questions to. And I think when you have a mentor community or whatever, that can accelerate your business growth dramatically when somebody's like, yes, do this, no, don't do that. Any thoughts on that?
Hey, Lisa, let me give some thoughts. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, you sound great.
Well, Charlie said, "Hey, do you have an old wired headset?" And I said,
Hey,
I'm digging
Charlie.
around and I'm digging all through it. This thing's probably 20 years old.
It sounds gorgeous.
But one of the great things about, and maybe that's a difference between some of us and you, this isn't my full-time job. This isn't what I rely on to pay the mortgage. And every time I get done with a class, I'm on top of the world. I feel great. Even if it's one student or 13 students, I just feel like I'm, top of the world. And I guess that gets me through a lot of the pre-registration stuff, the stuff where people don't read and it just
Yeah.
frustrates the heck out of me. Like, why are you asking me this? It's right there. It's right there. I told you you needed to do X, Y, or Z. But when I get done teaching a class, it's just fantastic. I don't know what it is about teaching a class. If all teachers are like this, or it's just when you're doing something you're passionate about. Well, I guess teachers are passionate too, but I don't know. I always feel great about it.
So I'm the opposite. I'm such an introvert that after class is done, like I'm spent. Like when I do instructor courses, they're 2 or 3 days long. I'm out for like at least 2 days. Like
Yeah.
just I tell people like I'm trying to get my soul back, right? I hide in a closet. Like leave me alone. Like so you're one of those weird ones, those weird extroverts that gets energy off people. People suck my energy out. That's just the way I'm wired. But I totally get what like why I'm in it, like why I'm teaching, like it's great. But as soon as the last person walks out the door or I get in my car, it's like the walls cave in. And it's how I've been for I don't know my whole life, but especially teaching for 8 years.
Uh, I kind of feel the same way Doug does. When you're done with it, you're kind of, you know, on cloud nine that you made a difference and etc. How many of us in here kind of feel like Lisa or feel like Doug? I mean, because you might be in the minority, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Doug. I've been instructing the military. For me, the energy to motivate the students to increase that awareness, I feel like I'm on a high. And toward the end of the day, when it goes down, I know when it goes down because I get headaches.
Ooh.
Like, oh man, I feel it. The adrenaline goes down.
Hmm.
When we do an outdoor range, oh my God, I can't even sleep that night because I'm so excited and I watch the progress of the students. So I'm definitely an extrovert with some introvert, properties because there are times when, as she said, I do need that time, that downtime to just be to myself. And when I just want to go to the range and just do me, just shoot, practice on some things, right? And because I have to prepare myself for the next level of instruction so I can keep my credentials up, like range master course, DCJS course. So at the same time, you still have to take care of yourself,
Hmm.
right? We give all we want to everybody else, but we still have to remember to take care of ourselves as well.
I agree.
Yeah, so we can keep giving.
Anybody else got words of wisdom? Grit. Talking about grit and endurance and pushing through this shitty seasons.
Well, may I add to it as well
Sure.
about the whole grit piece? When you mentioned about wanting to quit, oh man, let me tell you, many times. But it was something greater about keeping going than wanting to quit. Um, I was like, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail. So I just push through it.
That's good. Charlie, did you have something? I saw you.
Yeah, I'm with Doug. I feel great after I
You
teach
want to go?
class.
Go.
It doesn't matter if I've had one or two students or I've had, a dozen or 15 people. Um, I feel good, and then I go home and I think I'm going to do something productive, and I go home and put on a movie and take a nap. And then, a couple hours later, I'm okay. Let's, figure out what's for dinner and continue on with the day. So, um, I enjoy it. I dig it. It doesn't really matter if it's one person or or a dozen or whatever.
Mhm. Agreed. Anybody else, Mr. William?
Hey, good evening, everybody. So I can identify with everybody, to be honest with you. I actually I've been a firearms instructor through your CCA for a couple of years now. I do have a day job and I actually own a stretch therapy location, which is kind of is one of those things that will make you want to quit. Been a personal trainer and a strength coach in the DC area for close to 20 years now. So I can kind of identify with the sentiment of, having grit. I am a military child, military dad now, military spouse. And so grit is important. And I think you touched on earlier about, how the US is a little soft now, and how we kind of are helicopter parents and a little bit different from the 70s and 80s babies. So it's just having that accountability and having people around you that have like minds and want to see you do better is vitally important. And you also got to take care of yourself
Yeah.
for the most part. So stick with the CrossFit and be humble and give yourself grace. Sometimes people look for more than what they're able to handle, but just be patient with yourself and give yourself some grace.
It's good. It's good. Last call. Anybody else?
I'm sorry, I know I said something already, but
You're good. The more the
um,
merrier.
do you have anybody that mentors you?
So that's a good question. Are we talking about firearms or just in general in life?
I mean, maybe specifically firearms. I know you said something about going to like having a coach, but there's an instructor that's about an hour from me, and he does the same course that I do, same 8 hour course.
Mhm.
Does it at his house as I do it at mine, and he was shut down because of a zoning setup.
Oh,
But I mean, he packs his class. He's got a dozen people every weekend, and he is what I aspire to be. And he's helped me out. He's gave me some tips. For his being as close as he is, I've sent people to him because they were closer to him than they were to me. And it kind of bit me in the ass because I'm like, he's the closest, like geographically, that I've had to a mentor. And I've kind of helped other instructors out that are newer at it than I am. But it sounds like you have all the know-how because I mean you wouldn't put all this together if you didn't, you just don't see what you've done.
I appreciate that. So I think a couple of things. So yes and no to your question. So from the actual like shooting skill, like the skills of shooting, I would say my two mentors retired. They don't really they don't really shoot anymore. When it comes to business, I just I just read a lot of books and I paid for a coach, a business coach. Pedro Adeo, I don't know if anybody knows him. He's a Christian business coach. Um, so he helped me in like the business side like a lot. Like he was with me for 4 years. Um, when it comes to the NRA stuff, like that's a whole different thing. So I'm in the NRA headquarters 4 days a week. I just ask education training. So I get most of my answers directly from the source. And my training counselor, my TC, um, retired. That's a bummer. But so yes and no. And I take courses and stuff to keep my skills up. Um, and I think I told you this. I was hiring a SaaS coach. A SaaS is software as a service. If you don't know what that is, it's an instructor stash. Hiring a business coach. So I don't, when you hire coaches, they can take you from 1 to 10 fa way faster than you ever will. And they're brutally honest, like brutally. Because you pay them to be honest. You pay them for their experience and their time, right? So if you've already ever emailed me and say, did you look at my website? I do that for free. I do something called first look. So I hit record on my computer and I go to your website and I tell you everything I see. Like, is it great? Is it confusing? Can I check out in 5 clicks? Where's your classes? The information. There's too much stuff on here, right? So we do that so people aren't struggling for 5 years. Like, why can't I see traffic to my site? I'm getting 50 people a day at my site, but I get 2 sales a week or 1 sale a week. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. About your training counselor that retired, I think somebody who had like who you aspire to be, um, having a conversation with them. Ed is part of the group, Ed Monk, that was mentioned before. I've seen him post stuff before and stuff like that. I'm not crazy familiar with him myself, but
Mhm.
I would, you know, uh,
I see him post all the time. I don't know who he is.
I started
Most of
talking.
his posts are ads, like come to this or that
Yeah, he might. I
class.
mean, he might not be the guy. He might not be the guy, but there is somebody that has done this that can understand the way your brain works because it, I don't having all daughters, it's hard for us to relate to you.
Well, yeah, like guys, I'm not broken. It's just the way
Yeah.
I'm just an introvert.
Yeah.
The way I process energy is very different than my husband, who's an extrovert, who, loves going to parties and comes home wired. I come home tired. It's just the way your soul is. God made your soul. Like, coming home, I know I need recovery time when I come home from an instructor course, right? That's just like I don't think there's anything wrong with me. It's just the way I operate. My family knows I need a day of peace and 2 movies, right? Then you get up and you do it again.
Lisa, I don't think there's anything wrong with you because I think I'm probably going to be the same way. Say we haven't started teaching yet, but I know at work, if I'm training, it drains me for that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need time to come when I come home to
Mm-hmm.
just kind of unwind from
Mm-hmm.
the day itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're just introverts. It's just, it's just the way God made us. I'm okay. I'm not. All right. Anybody else? Okay. We got 5 minutes. Any questions? A couple of things. 2 weeks. We are not here for 2 weeks. We're taking Christmas off. I don't want to work. So we're not here the 23rd and we are not here the 30th. I will see you on the 6th. So if you click on this link and you're waiting an hour for someone to let you in and nobody's there, that is why. Okay, so see you on the 6th. All right, for those of you who are new, Bullseye Business Blueprint is all the other training. Let's see if I can do this real quick. I will put it in the chat. Remember, it's free. This is the startup business. Our YouTube page has 18 hours of training on it. It's very similar to this. But I do keep the beginning. Remember, I do keep the beginning of our classes pretty much private because the world doesn't need to know all that. And then if you are new and you're looking for a website or a way to process your students and organize them, try out instructorsdash.com. Well, a lot of us use that. It's good. All right, what else you got for me? If not, I'm going to say Good night. Anybody else?
Lisa, real
Good
quick,
night.
Yeah, Chris.
just wanted to let you know there's certain people that you have the uh, privilege to meet, and just to let you know, I'm glad that I took your class, your very first class. Um, from you talk about the way that you are, just you're a badass, and please don't think that you're not. Again, I was very glad that I took your very first class.
Thank you. You guys have taken what, 4 classes with me, right? 2 basics and 2 instructor? Or 1 basic and 2 instructor?
I believe it was one. Was it one, two, three,
Three.
three?
Three. Return clients, man, they're happy. Thanks, guys. Thanks. You guys are amazing. Last call.
I have a question.
Yes, Steve?
I filled out the information to get the card, and I know they said it takes like 6 weeks to get
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Where do I go to make a certificate? And what about regular business cards?
Okay, those are a couple questions. Let's start at the beginning. So when you teach an NRA instructor course, when you process the course, the certificate will pop up. And I have a training on that. Go to our group, it says NRA backend training. So it's there. And then you can do it and pause, do the instructions, pause again. And it's also a PDF inside the NRA portal. There's a PDF there. Okay, you had another question. Where to get business cards?
Ideas for business cards. Will we be using the NRA certified instructor logo on it?
Uh-huh. I would keep it really simple, right? One side, your name, your contact, your name, website, your general information. Make your print nice and big. My print's too small, and I ordered 40,000 of them. So and then on the other side, if you want to put the logo and maybe the 2 or 3 classes you teach, just on the other side, that's it. Nice and simple. If Vistaprint can do it for you, you can go on Fiverr and have it made and then have them printed on Vistaprint. Canva, I think Canva does printing now too. I think I saw that in an email. So you can go to Canva and just type in your stuff, pick a, what's that called? A sample, not a sample, a template, just fill in your information. Or you can pay somebody $50 to do it on Fiverr. Did I answer all your questions?
I think so at this point, yeah.
Okay. You have my number, Steve, if you need anything.
Will do.
Okay. We are at
Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, everybody, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your next 2 weeks. What's that?
In my case, it's Happy Hanukkah.
Well, Hanukkah and Christmas are the same day this year, right?
I think so.
It's like the first time in a long, long time, right?
My wife usually tells me when the holidays are because I don't have a clue.
That's hilarious, Steve. You're such a guy.
I try.
Okay, guys, Merry Christmas. I love you very much. Please reach out to me if you need anything. Enjoy your next 2 weeks. I'll see you on the 6th. Again, if you want to catch up in the next 2 weeks, they're on my YouTube page. It's Live Fire Instruction YouTube page, and you'll see it there.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Live long
thanks,
and
guys.
Fire.